So in this episode, we're going to talk about flying to Dallas in a private airplane. Which is faster, commercial or private airplane? Alright guys, so here we are. Welcome back to Flying Dirty.
Timer expired.
Uh-oh. Well, let's change the timer here while we're at it. Alright.
Oh, you turn the heat off.
Yes, son, I was getting really hot. Alright, so there we go. Everything's looking good. Fuel pressure is good. Burning 12.8 gallons an hour.
Guys, 5199, Roger, go ahead.
At 62% power. So in this episode, we're going to talk about flying to Dallas in a private airplane. Which is faster, commercial or private airplane? What do you think, son? Which is faster?
Private, because you don't have to wait and stuff, and then they have to like board, and you have to wait like an extra like 20 minutes before they take off and everything. Then you could be sitting there for like hours.
Yeah, okay, well, I have done the calculations before. Flying to Dallas, or when I have family flying to Dallas, I will time them because I'm just that way. I'm just curious, and so I've timed it before. Matter of fact, several times I've timed it, and I've made this trip a lot of times back and forth to Dallas and Denver, and I've got the calculations here. And give or take, sometimes it could be faster, sometimes it could be slower, basically depending on the winds and all of that good stuff. But these are your average of what I have calculated in the past. So, which is faster? All right, here we go. Let's break it down. So, as Javier said, first things first. When you go and fly commercial, first you have to go in, and if you have luggage, you have to check your luggage. So, let's assume you have luggage. You'll have to check your luggage. You'll have to stand in that long line. Now, if you don't have luggage, you can check in from your house in most cases. If you have internet, if you have a phone, you can check in from your house hours before the flight. And that way you don't have to check in, and you can just go right straight through to the gate. But either way, in most cases, nowadays with COVID and all these long lines, you would want to get to the airport at least 2 hours before your flight. At least that's how I do it. And it kind of depends on which airport you're going to go to, but you're going to go to a airport like Denver, Tampa, Dallas, you know, these major airports, you want to get there at least 2 hours, and sometimes 2 hours is just not enough. So sometimes these lines can get very long, especially during this time of year where it's very busy. So that being said, you definitely want to get there 2 hours before. So then, let's just say that you checked in 2 hours before the flight. The flight is not delayed. Everything is going great so far. So from Denver to Dallas, it's usually about 2 hours, give or take. Sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more. And a lot of times it depends on which direction and which direction you're flying to and from, and which direction the winds are coming from. So, but generally speaking, it's roughly about 2 hours to fly from Denver to Dallas in a commercial airplane. And this is all calculating that, you know, we're talking about taxiing, taking off, and all that good stuff. Okay? Takes about 2 hours for all of that. And then by the time you land, so let's add about another 15 minutes. And again, this depends at which airport, but we're talking about Dallas. And in this case, Dallas-Fort Worth is going to take longer than Dallas-Love Field. Dallas-Fort Worth, I've been there where sometimes taxiing could take about almost 30 minutes because the runways are so far apart. and there's a lot of runways at Dallas Fort Worth. But in this case, I fly Southwest, and we're talking about Love Field. So taxiing is about 15 minutes. And by the time you're on board, it's about another 15 minutes. And then if you have luggage, to get your luggage is about another 30 minutes, and about another 30 minutes for your car rental. So when you add that up, you're talking about around 5 hours and a half. Okay? That's commercial. So now flying in the Cherokee 6, it all depends. Again, it depends on the winds. I've made it in this Cherokee 6 to Dallas in about 3 hours and a half with a nice tailwind. Sometimes it's taken me more with a headwind. So it all varies. But tailwinds aside, so not calculating winds, it normally takes me about 3 hours and 50 minutes to get to Dallas from Denver, but we'll rough it out at 4 hours. So we'll go ahead and make it 4 hours from Denver to Dallas. Now, if I fly IFR, I usually make a stop. And that stop is at Clinton. Or if the headwinds are beating me up, I will make a stop. Okay? There's no sense in pushing the fuel issue. If I don't have to make a stop, I can make it there in about 4 hours. That means I'll definitely beat commercial airlines. Okay? Now, if I do have to make a stop, that'll be about an hour stop so that I can refuel, rest, eat lunch, and all that stuff. So let's make it 5 hours and a half. So that means that by the time by the time we get to the hangar, we take off, we'll land. The car is already going to be waiting for us, so there's no need on waiting for cars or anything like that. So in the Cherokee 6, it's much easier. There's no security checkpoints. There's no waiting for anything. You just load it and get out. So definitely flying private can be a lot faster than flying commercial. So not only that, but flying commercial can be a hassle and a nuisance nowadays, especially having to wear your mask all day long. From the moment you get to the airport while you're in the airplane. And one of the things I really hate about how things are nowadays is that not only do you have to wear the mask, but we just recently, I think you've flown commercial how many times?
Twice, but I don't remember the first time because I was little.
All right, so we did go to Florida when he was little, and we flew there, but he doesn't remember. Isabel, she only flew one time, and this is when we just went to Florida in September. And let me tell you, it was a hassle. And what I didn't like and appreciate is that, you know, we fly Southwest oftentimes, and they give you these little snacks. Peanuts is what you get nowadays. And when they were serving peanuts, they had you, this is ridiculous, they had you like, they didn't want you to talk. So if you wanted something to drink, let's say for example, if you wanted Pepsi, you would do one. If you wanted, you know, coffee, you'd do two, and whatever. So you had to do hand signals. They didn't want you to talk. You know, that irated me. So which one do you prefer to fly? Would you prefer to fly commercial or private?
Private.
And why is that?
It's easier, faster. It's nicer to just be on your own.
I would have to agree with that. I've flown commercial since I bought this Cherokee 6 in 2000, I believe it was 2013, when we first bought this Cherokee 6. I've flown commercial 2 to 3 times perhaps. Here's another thing to mention. I was just looking at flights just for kicks. For example, I was looking at a flight from Jacksonville to Tampa, and there were no direct flights. And listen to this. 5 hours and a half in a commercial airplane to fly from Jacksonville, Florida to Tampa, Florida, which it takes you less to get there driving. And the reason why is because they didn't have any direct flights, and then on Southwest, so you would have to connect through Baltimore, Houston, or Washington, D.C., I believe. And either way would take you at least 5.5 hours to go to Tampa, for goodness gracious. All right, guys, so that's it for this one. We're about to land at Clinton, Oklahoma. We're gonna fuel up, eat some lunch, and then we're gonna take off to continue our flight to Dallas. So take care, stay safe, have a great day, my friends.